So is everyone on board with what we're doing here? Any last questions before we start? Basically, just follow the leader a little bit. I'll ramble for...
Follow the yellow brick road.
Please, no. I do not like that movie.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I don't like that movie
Wait.
either. They're weird.
I'm
They're
sorry.
weird.
That's the whole point.
I know, but I don't like that. I don't like them.
You don't like that they're like,
Follow the yellow brick road.
I'll say this. I respect... It's like
Actually had a crush on one of the lollipop girls.
oh, the Lollipop Gill?
No, that's the boys.
Those were the boys.
The lullaby gang. The lullaby
Oh,
gang.
We represent.
Yes. The boys. I
I
didn't
was
have
like,
a
the
crush on one of the
lollipop-
Munchkin boys.
The Lollipop Gill is, even if there was, Derek, it
The
would
lullaby
be okay.
leg.
We would
The
accept
lullaby
you.
leg. I'm sorry. The lullaby leg.
This is an accepting place. This is.
It's like so I'll say this before we jump in the show. It's like the Beatles. I don't like Beatles music really because most of it's very plain, but I respect what the Beatles and Wizard of Oz were at the time and what they did for their respective industries.
For that, yeah. For in the movie industry,
Yeah.
in that
but
decade,
I don't enjoy watching it, but I respect it.
that was talented. You know, Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch, she was burned in the pyrotechnics in that scene where she disappears into the ground in Munchkin Village, and there was like a fire. There was pyrotechnics, and it caught her on fire, and she had burns.
It's like Michael Jackson in a Pepsi commercial.
Oh,
Wow.
We had to go there.
You got burned in that too?
Welcome to Eye on Sports, where we delve into the biggest Butler County sports topics. I'm your host, Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pyda. Joining me are fellow sports writer Brendan Howell and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams.
All right, hello. Welcome to a summer break edition of Eye on Sports. We're technically away for the next few weeks. We're going to be back during football season, but we're dropping a couple special episodes this week as part of our 25 and 2025 series. Names may be a work in progress. We'll see. That's hitting the Butler Eagle Sports section throughout the week. Seeing as we're a quarter of the way through the 21st century, give or take, we've spent the last few weeks here at the Eagle diving through our archives to name the best athletes, coaches, and teams from Butler County since 2000, the top 25. In today's episode, we're breaking down the area's top 25 male and top 25 female athletes of the last 25 years. The men's list was published on Monday. The women's list is published today by the time you listen to this. And we have interviews with our number one picks in just a moment on this show. Now, here's how we came up with this list, just so we have a little bit of background. Several months ago, we contacted Butler County athletic directors, looked at various Hall of Fames around the area, dug through our archives, and just talked as a staff. We came up with about an average of 50 nominees in all four categories, then narrowed them down to about 35 during a couple hours long conversation in the office the one day. And then from there, Brendan, Derek, and I, along with former sports editor John Henrietto, because we could never do this project without him and his expertise, cast ballots of our top 25 picks in each group. We tallied those votes up, and voila. So before we list the top athletes and talk to a couple of them, Derek, Brendan, question for you. What was this process like? What was the best part of it?
It was for me, very time consuming. When I saw this, I've been here for the vast majority of this time. I started in 2002, so there was just a couple of years at the start of this span that I was not here, and I wanted to be able to, even if the people who I thought should be on the list, if they didn't all end up making the final 25, I wanted each person that I nominated to be as well represented as far as accomplishments go. So yeah. I went back and I tried to dig as much as I could through archives, and from kind of started with personal memory. But the thing that kind of struck me was the personal memory might lead me to a certain athlete. But then when I look back in archive, I'm like, oh, yeah, geez, I forgot about Jency Rhodes is a perfect example of this. I remember her as a absolute stud basketball player for Slippery Rock High School back in, I think she graduated in 2007. Over 2,000 points, Gatorade Player of the Year. And when I started doing the research on her, I remembered she was really good in soccer too. I mean, really good at soccer, good goal scorer. So as much as I thought I remembered about certain athletes, when you start going back 15, 20 plus years to kind of get some details on a person, sometimes I was able to pull up some pretty crucial details that are going to be, pretty significant in terms of a person making or not making the list. Things that I had forgotten, and usually I don't like to think I forget much, but in this case I did, because we're talking about 23 years of, as far as me being here, 23 years of trying to rack my brain. But the archive system was literally invaluable. Couldn't do it without the archive system.
Brendan, you or I were in similar boats here, being relatively new, not knowing as much of the history as Derek and John did. So what was this like for you?
I can honestly say I didn't lose as much sleep as Derek did about it. I'm sure Derek lost some sleep. I've been here for nearly 4 years now. It doesn't feel like that long. But in my time, there hasn't been, obviously that's a small portion. That's less than 1/5 of what this project is, of the athletes that made our lists.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of them, I was 3-4 years old when Derek started here. So he has knowledge. As I was growing up, he was watching these athletes play. So a lot of it was looking at stats. A lot of it was kind of just honestly piggybacking off what Derek and John were able to provide me, at least. I don't know about you, but or if it's the same for you.
Yeah,
but
it had to do a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know what I don't know. So a lot of help came from Derek and John.
So without further ado, obviously this has been out in print, so there's no big reveal here. But here, for those of you that haven't seen the paper yet, are our top 25 male athletes, starting at number 1 down to 25. Jordan Geist, Knoch's phenomenal thrower there, is number 1 here. We've also got, running through this a little bit faster, Drew Griffith, Ethan Morton, Robbie Carmody, Alejandro Herrera Rondon, Brandon Fusco, Brad Mueller, Brian Minto, our first non-high school athlete, I believe, of the bunch there, Bill Bear, Michael Carmody, Jordan Brown, CJ Singleton, Kyle Armagas, Terrell Sales, David Bochy, John Costello, David Bednar, might be a name familiar to a couple of fans out there, Matt Schandelmeyer, Levine Prementine, Derek, I'm sorry if I butchered that one, Pete Pauline, Don Barclay, Luke Lamb, Zach Jackson, CJ Brown, and Kevin Smith. Pretty good list there that we have. Brendan, question you to start. What was your toughest decision to make of that men's list?
So something that stood out to me when I got the sheet back showing who ranked where, this kind of goes hand in hand in what I just told you, and I am not aware of these athletes and kind of ranking them as accurately as Derek and John can, but Matt Schandelmeyer from Montauk, I think it was. He was a standout in football, basketball, and track. He was great in each sport, and I thought, and we're going to talk more about the process of how we kind of chose them, but I thought because he was great in 3 sports, he would probably be more near the top of the list, top 5, and I don't think he ended up there.
He's on the list, not top 5.
Yeah, I ended up being one that didn't vote for him, actually, and similar to what you were talking about, just like you're not always sure. You're trying to do the best. We wrote down a lot of notes for these athletes and coaches and teams, and so for people like Brendan and I who didn't get to watch them live, we have to do a lot of educated guessing. I think we did a pretty good job here, but like I'll admit, Matt was one I didn't know enough about or didn't think was up in the list, but he was there at number 20 or 18, I think it was. Derek, you've covered most of these guys, if not all of them. Who was it that you were maybe higher on than us, the rest of us in the group? Because we've had this conversation a little bit in the office. So what kind of stood out to you?
Well, you said that I've covered most of them, the vast majority of them, which is true. But the guy that kind of stands out that I was high on, who ended up not making the final list, is a guy who I actually didn't cover. Josh Neese, the 2001 Slippery Rock grad. Now, he ended up as Slippery Rock High School's all-time leading rusher. Now, obviously, most of his career came before 2000, but I thought his season of 2000, which is the first year that, with what we're working here as far as the span goes, his first year of the century, he was a senior at Slippery Rock High School. He set Slippery Rock's all-time single-season rushing record, 2,172 yards. single game record of rushing yards with, I believe it was 413, scored 31 touchdowns, won the Butler Eagle scoring trophy. And then from 01 to 04, 05, he goes on to have a record-setting career at Slippery Rock University, where he set the program's all-time yards from scrimmage record with well over 5,000. So that's a guy I thought. Now, some people may have looked at that and said, well, he did a lot in his career at Slippery Rock. Most of that career came before 2000. Only his senior year came in 2000, so maybe that's why some people left him off the list. I thought he did enough in his senior year to be included in this group. I voted for him. I can't remember how many points. But, in the end, a list like this, it's good to have different perspectives, and it's good to have, John and I covered most of these guys. You and Brendan are more new, obviously newer to what these people did, but in the end, I think that balance ended up being a benefit more than it was a hindrance. In the end, we have to have different points of view. We can't clone John 4 times. Thank God we can't clone Brendan 4 times.
You brought up a point that I forgot to mention in the intro to this. Is like some of the parameters I set for you guys was the performance had to be from 2000 to 2025. Now, if someone played before that, you could weigh that into your calculation, but the majority of the weight had to go to what happened in the last 25 years. Same, we had some athletes on this list that or athletes and coaches that are still active in high school or in college. We can't count what they're going to do in the future, obviously, because we don't know what they're going to do. But then I also said, count what they did in Butler County more than anything else. So like someone going to SRU, they're still in Butler County, but if someone had went to Ohio State, what they accomplished there would be great, but it's not as important as what they did within the county. Now, Jordan Geist goes on, and he's had a phenomenal career post Knoch, so that obviously helped his stock when we were all voting, I think, pretty clearly. I think I can speak for both of you and John in that regard, but it was what did you do in high school or college here? So that's just to give a little bit more background as to kind of what our parameters were, but everyone still had to vote and weigh that themselves. I wasn't like strictly percentaging it out or anything like that. We're going to go to an interview here of Jordan Geist that we recorded. Any final thoughts on this list or anything on Jordan that you guys wanted to share before we jump in?
Thing that kind of stuck out for me, and I did not know this. I knew that he went to Arizona, but from the interview I found out that, and you remember this from the interview, he actually at first really took a liking to Arizona State. Oh. And word kind of got around to different colleges because colleges would have been beating down this guy's door. Mm-hmm. But he said that the college attention was really tempered by the fact that people just assumed, oh, he's going to Arizona State. We've seen, some comments that he's made about Arizona State and Tempe and how much he would like to go there. So a lot of schools kind of laid off because they figured this guy's, it's already a done deal, so to speak, in theory anyway, that he's going to go to Arizona State. And as it turned out, he ended up going to Arizona instead. But he said, looking back, the fact that he didn't have all that attention, all those colleges visiting and calling, kind of, it was turned out to be a blessing because he knows that, in pretty much any sport, if you're a star athlete and you have the ability to go to that level, Division I, some of the recruiting process can really be overwhelming for a high school kid. It can. And he didn't really have to go through that. That was a blessing for him.
Brendan, any final thoughts for you?
That was exactly what I was going to say. Actually, I think I asked that specific question about what other schools he was interested in and stuff. And I don't know, you think of recruiting, I do anyways, more in terms of football where especially now it's NIL this, NIL that. And there's always been some sort of like reward for going to school. But I don't know. I doubt that Jordan Geist went to Arizona for the same reasons Rob Gronkowski did is what I'm going to say there.
Well,
Gronk.
Here's our interview of Knoch's Jordan Geist.
How you doing, Jordan?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
Thank you for that. Sorry.
So how is the weather in Arizona right now?
116 yesterday.
What? We have nothing to complain about. Nothing.
But it's a dry heat.
Well, I know. I lived in Nevada,
like
so yeah, I get that. But it's still hot.
You could fry an egg on the sidewalk.
Oh yeah, you could. Actually, have you ever done that?
No, I thought about baking some cookies in my car though.
Oh yeah. If you do, take a video, send it to us. Let us know.
Joining us via Zoom for the Eye on Sports podcast is Butler County native and 2017 Knoch High School graduate Jordan Geist. After a total of 6 high school state titles in the shot put and discus, he won a gold medal at the 2017 Pan Am U20 Championships in Peru and went on to star at the University of Arizona. He set the world record in the 16-pound shot put, and in 2023 he won an NCAA Division I title in the indoor shot put and has competed in the Olympic trials. Jordan has been voted as the Butler Eagles' top male athlete of the last 25 years. Jordan, we are so glad you're able to join us. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, where are you living now, and what are you up to now from an athletic standpoint?
So I still live in Arizona from when I graduated high school, went to the University of Arizona in Tucson, recently moved to Phoenix for my wife to start PA school. So I've been up there for about a year now, and I'm training towards USA championships at the end of July into the beginning of August.
So we'll kind of start here at the beginning. What other sports were you involved in when you were younger, and what or who influenced you toward getting involved in throwing events?
Yeah, so I started off playing kind of everything, baseball, basketball, football when I was really young. Wasn't very good at baseball, so I played that for a few years and then switched to track at a pretty young age, about 8 years old. But my parents were athletes. They grew up being athletes and doing every sport with me and my brother. So they're the ones who kind of got me into sports and athletics at a young age and all the way through high school. Yeah.
So, Joe, I'm going to take you back to, I guess this would have been 2014. Your freshman year, I'm covering the Butler Invite, and you won first place in one of your events. It was either the shot put or the discus. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, freshman just winning the Butler Invite. There's 70-plus schools there. I come up to interview you, and you were actually disappointed, and you told me that even though you had won, you had not thrown as far as you had hoped. That mentality of not being satisfied, even after success, was that a natural trait for you, or was that something that was instilled in you by somebody?
I think it's something that was kind of instilled in me. My parents both did track and field in college, so they kind of had the right mentality when bringing me up in it. So everything for me was about executing technically, being able to do it in big moments. And that's still something that I kind of appreciate now. Obviously now it's my job, it's more about just trying to win and trying to make money. But honestly, unless you're executing and being able to be your best on every single day, then that's something I've really brought with me in high school and try to carry with me when I go overseas to compete in US champs and all those things.
As it turned out, you turned into a once-in-a-generation type of athlete. At what point did it hit you that you could achieve some incredible feats beyond simply being an elite high school thrower? When did that revelation kind of hit you?
That was probably my sophomore year. I threw 69 feet, which at the time was, one of the top 4 or 5 marks in Pennsylvania state history. But then being able to start competing at the national level as a sophomore and placing 4th or 5th at the national level meet again as a sophomore, I thought was pretty impressive. So it was that year that I also stopped playing football and decided to put all of my eggs into the basket of track and field, and paid off for sure.
So we're going to run down a few of your other accomplishments here. Of course, as I mentioned at the start, you won 3 state titles in high school in the shot put and 3 in the discus. You also broke and still hold the state record in both events. That's 74 feet, 3.5 inches in the shot put and 207 feet, 6 inches in the discus. When did the college recruitment process begin for you? When do you start, when do you remember attracting attention for the first time?
So my story was pretty interesting. So I was really interested in a school, Arizona State University in Phoenix. So I and my parents took an unofficial visit there my junior year. Absolutely loved it. I never committed or anything, but all throughout my junior and senior year, I think most college coaches thought that he's going to Arizona State. So not a lot of coaches even reached out to me. And then the coach at Arizona State left um, before my senior year. So I was kind of in a cool position where I could just reach out to the schools that I was interested in. And those were really the only schools that I communicated with um, high school, and then being able to take all 5 visits across the country. Yeah.
What were some of those schools that you reached out to that you mentioned there?
So I visited Arizona State, University of Arizona, Kentucky, Indiana, and Ole Miss. And University of Arizona, I just really loved the business school that they had, loved the coach there, knew I wanted to kind of get into some warmer weather, so it just ended up being a really good fit for me.
Is it kind of weird to think that you ended up at the rival of the school that you initially thought you were going to go to?
No, exactly. I mean, I really loved the state of Arizona and just kind of the weather. Obviously now it's 116, so it's not as fun. But in the winter, it's really cool to be able to train out here all year outdoors.
Jordan, the fact that you just mentioned a bit ago that you didn't have 70, 80 schools like knocking on your door because they thought at that time you were going to Arizona State. You look back at that as kind of a blessing because sometimes kids in high school, when they're really good in whether it be football, track, basketball, they kind of feel overwhelmed by the recruiting process. You kind of avoided that, and you looking back, do you look at that as a blessing?
Absolutely. I think you kind of hit the nail right on the head. Me being able to kind of focus in on what I knew I wanted in a school and being able to kind of narrow that down on my own without all the kind of external pressure from other people from Alabama, Georgia, some of these like really elite schools around the country, me being able to kind of, pick and choose what I really wanted in a school.
Yeah, and you obviously, as Derek's kind of run down here, you accomplished a lot in high school. You get to the Division I level, which is completely different. What was the biggest transition in that kind of move there?
I mean, the biggest transition was, so I came up in high school with a really elite group of especially shot putters. So I still had them in college. Plus I had elite shot putters from different countries and those that were 3-4 years older than me. So physically I wasn't as gifted relatively as the other guys that I was competing against at that point. So it really kind of leveled the playing field when everyone's throwing 66, 67 feet with the 16-pound shot put. So just a lot more competitive, starting to travel a lot more and having to be able to take a lot more accountability in your own training whenever you're working with 15, 16 other Division I athletes that are all pushing each other. So yeah, a lot of changes.
How different is that going from being the big fish in the small pond to kind of everyone being the same as you mentioned there?
It's definitely, it makes you work a lot harder, I feel like, just being able to kind of fight for those spots. And it was the same type of transition once I graduated. Ended up winning my 2 national titles my senior year, but then kind of going back to the bottom of the totem pole at the professional level because now everyone's national champions, everyone's world champions, world medalists, European medalists, all that type of stuff. So kind of that continuous cycle of rise to the top, get brought back to the bottom, and keep having to grind your way up to the top.
Jordan, the 2 international competitions that I know for a fact, I know you were in Peru, and I know at one point you were in Mexico. What other countries have you visited in terms of athletics?
So I've done Canada, Bahamas, Chile, Germany, Czech Republic, Italy, Poland, Ireland. I was just in Morocco, which was really cool. So mostly European now, but a couple South America countries as well.
So looking at those opportunities specifically, the international competitions, was there anything about those experiences that really stuck out for you aside from competing itself? I mean, was there any time left for sightseeing? Were you able to take in anything regarding the culture or history of a country? And did you make any lasting friendships from those experiences?
So we're not really able to kind of go out and do a lot of sightseeing just because we're only there for 2-3 days. One of those is a competition day. but just kind of the culture of track and field, especially overseas, is completely different because they don't have the NFL, they don't have the MLB, they don't have the NBA. So athletics and track and field is something that they take a lot of pride in. It's like Italy and Poland, that's two of their biggest sports that they have. So just kind of the energy and environment that they kind of cultivate for these competitions is a lot higher than what we get at just a normal meet over here at the United States. Obviously, like our national level meet, that's going to be a lot higher. But then kind of the connections you were talking about, yeah, I've made some of my best friends competing over there. A lot of them are American, but Italians are a really cool group. A lot of Canadians I've been able to spend a lot of time with. Really kind of tight bond that we're all kind of on the circuit together. So we're all going to the same meets. We're all staying at the same hotels. We're all eating together, spending all this time together. It's been really cool to kind of learn from each other for not only throwing and training, but also just kind of life.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you're still at it. So what does your current training schedule entail?
So right now I'm in season. I'm 4 or 5 weeks out from USA Championships at this point. So we're kind of starting to back off the training a little bit. So it's a lot less volume, a lot more higher intensity for throwing. And then for lifting, it's just lighter weight, a lot more kind of bar speed stuff that we're working on there. But getting ready to go to Idaho next week for a little bit of cooler weather, just to do kind of a week-long training camp before I come back here for the final push for USA Champs.
Where are those USA Championships at?
Eugene, Oregon. That's kind of the big track capital of the United States. They hosted World Championships in 2022, and almost every year they're the ones hosting U.S. Champs and NCAAs.
Yeah.
Jordan, we talked about the international places, the other countries you've been to, and you've obviously been all over the country as well. What have you picked in your own mind? What is your favorite place that you've had to visit regarding competitions?
Italy I've spent a lot of time in, and it's kind of like you're more of a celebrity in some of those smaller countries. Italy and Poland, they really are appreciative of track and field, so you get treated really well, not only by the meet directors but the spectators. They bring a lot of good energy. Really beautiful countries, both Poland and Italy. They're probably my two favorite.
So regarding your family, Jim, is he your dad?
Yes.
Okay, and he was a star thrower at Knoch.
Yes.
Your mom is Judy, and she was a coach at Knoch. Is she still there?
No, so they both they help out at Slippery Rock University, and now they're both volunteer assistant throws coaches up there.
Okay, and Diane, would that be your aunt?
Yes.
So the Geist family has a lot to do with Knoch athletics. You've been all over the world, you've been all over the country, you've accomplished so much. But when you think about Knoch and kind of where it all started, what does that school district mean to you and your family as a whole?
I mean, my family was definitely the most supportive thing about growing up in that area. Just kind of all of us being elite coaches, elite athletes, kind of growing up around that all the way from childhood. I think that definitely kind of helped me get to where I was. But it's kind of tough. Our athletic director was the football coach at the time, and when I stopped playing football, I don't think he appreciated that very much. So I don't know if we got 100% of the support that we honestly could have, but definitely a lot of support from all of my teachers. A lot of the other football coaches were really appreciative as well. So I think just kind of growing up in a really tight sports community at Knoch, I think was really helpful.
So you've been in Arizona for a number of years now. Are you a pro sports fan, and have you been converted to Arizona fandom?
Of course not. So I NFL is really the only thing I really follow, and I'm still diehard Steelers fan. So Arizona Cardinals, I'm very glad I'm not a fan of them right now.
What do you think of the trade for Ramsey, giving it Minka Fitzpatrick up?
I mean, we'll see how it plays out. You never know.
I think we got Minka's best years.
Yeah, I hope
think we
so.
got when you're in the competition mode, I mean, obviously, you're kind of tunnel visioned. Is there any lighthearted moment that kind of came up unexpectedly through your years of competition that you look back on and, something that was not expected, but you kind of laugh at just the way things turned out, or something that happened on the field or in the throwing pit?
That's a good question. I think definitely in high school there were a lot more shenanigans around competitions than the college and the professional level. Definitely at the professional level, still at a lot of smaller meets. There's a lot of time, not so much in competition, but out of competition, where just kind of us spending all that time together is just it makes for a lot of fun.
Do you get back here a few times a year? I mean, how often do you come back to visit the area and visit family?
If I'm lucky, it's usually about once a year. So I'll either come back for Christmas or I'll come back for a summer break. So this year, I think I'm going to end up coming back for Christmas.
Well, we know you still got some competitions ahead of you, big ones, and we wish you the best of luck. And can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on to be recognized as the Butler Eagles male athlete of the last 25 years, Jordan Geist.
Thank you so much.
Awesome interview, guys. Really enjoyed watching that one. We're going to go to their top 25 female athletes next here. Pretty good one, too. I think the one interesting thing to note before I get into this is our number one pick here had the highest vote total, or the second highest vote total, I believe, of any of the categories. I might have that wrong here. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Ellie Coffield, Mars girls soccer star, helped them win the 2020 PIAA championship, which was in the middle of COVID. She's our number one female athlete of the last 25 years. We'll have an interview with her coming up in a minute. Megan Schnurr was number 2. Ali DeGitis was number 3. Sam Breen was number 4. Then Jens Rhodes, who Derek talked about a minute ago, number 5. And then after that, Maggie Gruber, Lexi Hames, Natalie Belstein, Lacey Cochran, Amanda Smith, Joella Baker, Jeanette McDonough, Christina Demitis, Melissa Sofer Williams, Monica Glom, Amanda Sharbaugh Spader. We're using some more common or more recent last names for a few of them now that they're married. Elena Rocco, Sydney Jones, Laura Gottler, Taylor Hockenberry, Alexandra Karika, Alyssa Deal, Stacy Saffrit Anderson, Maggie Foley, and Ellie's sister, Piper Caulfield. So, Derek, I'll go to you first. What's something that stood out either when you were casting your votes or as you saw the final poll for this female list?
Well, this kind of came up as well with the male list, but you had to weigh. You know, you look at somebody that excelled in an individual sport, something like diving or gymnastics with Natalie Bilstein, and then you're trying to judge them against somebody who excelled in a team sport, like Ellie Coffield, or like Alex Karika from Seneca Valley, who was a star volleyball and basketball player. It's tough. I mean, how do you weigh? How do you balance when you got an individual state championship and somebody that has a incredible season to help a team win a team championship at the state level? That's tough. As well as I would not have guessed going in just before this whole process started, before we voted, that 2 soccer players on the girls' side would be voted 1-2.
Yeah.
Ellie Coffield from Mars and Megan Schnurr from Butler, who I never actually covered. She graduated high school here right after I started, and I didn't actually cover her on the soccer pitch for Butler. But 2 soccer players. We all know how strong soccer is in Butler County, boys and girls. But I do think it's kind of, in a way, looking back, fitting that as strong as soccer is, our top 2 female athletes of the last 25 years were voted as soccer players.
Brendan, we touched on this a minute ago. You and I are the youngest and newest to this voting panel. So how did you go about trying to weigh some of these female athletes that you had seen against the ones that you haven't?
For me, it all came down to their accomplishments, and then after that, how many sports did they star in? And some starred in multiple sports and had accomplishments in multiple sports, obviously. But for some girls like Ellie Coffield, Megan Schnurr, Lexi Hames, who I have got to see out of all these athletes, I have got to cover her a lot actually. They were all great in their own sport, but after that, it came down for me to what other athletes' workloads were. So if you were athlete that only participated in one sport and you were obviously impressive but not shining bright as the other girls, then I would kind of have you lower on the totem pole than the others that were starring in multiple.
Interesting. Yeah. Up next, our interview with Mars's Ellie Coffield, our #1 female athlete of the last 25 years.
Your nails.
Thanks. It's my new hobby because I'm doing nothing. Right
Oh,
now.
I love those. Wait, you did those?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
You want to do mine?
Absolutely.
We're gonna
They're
have to
really
ask about
long
that,
right
though.
now. Okay, sorry guys. I'm like bogarting your.
The Butler Eagle has voted 2021 Mars graduate Ellie Coffield its top female athlete of the last 25 years. Ellie was twice named Gatorade PA Girls Soccer Player of the Year, scored 93 goals, and had 104 assists with the Planets. She led Mars to Whitbill and PIAA titles her junior and senior years, was named Whitbill Female Athlete of the Year as a junior, All-American, and to the National All-Star Game as a senior. She played 4 years at Pitt and was twice named Academic All-ACC. Ellie has been gracious enough to join us in the studio today. Ellie, congratulations and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, since you graduated from Pitt, where are you living now and what are you up to?
I'm actually chilling at home right now. I graduated from Pitt this past winter in December. And since then, I had hip surgery in February. I was just dealing with some aches and pains that developed over my collegiate career. Got an MRI early February, and turned out that I tore my labrum as well as some of the fascia in my core, which presented as a sports hernia. So not fun, but two like rock star surgeons teamed up and they crushed the procedure. I'm almost 5 months post-op, so just been training in the meantime and hanging at home with my fam.
I've not heard crushed a procedure used before with surgery.
They did. If you can, they did.
So what was that initial period after the surgery like? I mean, how long was it before you could actually get up and do things for yourself?
Honestly, for a big surgery, the hip, if there's one to do, based on my experience, I think the hip might be the one to get. This fortunately was my first big time surgery, and my first time, believe it or not, ever having to use crutches. So I was up and walking after 4 weeks. So pretty darn quick of a turnaround.
So looking at your athletic career, I know both of your parents, Grant and Kelly, have an athletic background. Can you give us some details on that and how big of an influence were they on you becoming an athlete yourself?
Absolutely. Yes, my dad, he was the punter on the Pitt football team, and he kicked as well. My mom was a stud libero on the volleyball team. So they met in college. There are 4 of them. 4 of us. I am the oldest of 4. And fortunately, they passed on their athletic genes to us. There was never an immediate pressure to participate in sports. If we wanted, to be in the band, if we wanted to be a ballerina, whatever it may be, they were going to be in full support. But they, like most parents do, checked us into some sports, and certain ones stuck, and I'm very thankful that they did.
When was the first time you were able to beat mom or dad in whatever game you were playing growing up? Like one-on-one for guys is the thing. What was it for you?
Right. So see, this is where it gets tough, because right about the time where I could have finally beaten my dad in like an all-out sprint, he finally hit the age where if he didn't warm up, he was going to tear something. So unfortunately, I never had like a winning moment. Now it's more of a battle with my brother, who's going to be a junior in high school. But I don't know. Middle school, I learned volleyball with my mom. That was very, very fun. I'll never take her in that for sure, no matter how old she is. But approaching the high school years, that's when it got close with my dad. Yeah.
Soccer increasingly players start at a young age. So what's your background in soccer? When did you start, and when did you really fall in love with it?
Right. I mentioned my parents throwing us into things. Soccer seems to be a big one that parents just test the waters with. My dad coached me when I was 4 or 5. Really young. I think it was the Mars and Martians at the time. And that one honestly stuck the most, but all kinds of sports. I played basketball, hockey a little bit, volleyball, like I mentioned. But really soccer is what turned out to be the one that stuck.
I asked a similar question on the team portion that we're going to be having. Spoiler for those that are going to be watching that video after this one. What was your influence growing up in soccer, whether it was a team or a particular player, whether it was in the Mars community or somewhere national or international scene? Who inspired you most to play soccer?
Good question. In terms of high school, I really looked up to that 2011 team that I think we'll talk about in a little bit. Jordan White, now Jordan Cole, Krista Ganter. Some of the players of that 2011 squad actually were assistant coaches when I was in high school. And that was really special because they just were an excellent gap between, Blair and the players, because they were players once themselves. And that was super, super helpful. When I kind of approached middle school and got super serious about soccer, that's when I started tuning more into the college game, and always was a massive supporter of the national team, of course. But definitely those guys of the 2011 squad I looked up to a lot.
Who was your favorite on the U.S. national team?
I'm an oldie. I just love Mia Hamm.
Okay.
I just love her game. But today it's just so neat to see how many young kids are absolutely crushing it at the pro and international level. It's really neat.
Yeah.
So you arrive as a freshman on Mars's varsity team, and the team always had really good players. For you to kind of break through and leave your mark as a first-year varsity player, you scored 14 goals, 15 assists that year. What do you remember about your freshman season, and did you have any goals going into that year saying, I know I'm on a very competitive team, but I think I can do this, I want to do this?
Right. Yeah, Mars has even prior to my freshman season and beyond, very, historically successful. I really just wanted to step in and make as big of an impact as I could. I definitely had big goals as a freshman. Of course, everyone talks about I'd love to get varsity time. I didn't want to just get varsity time. I wanted to start. I wanted to start every game. I wanted to contribute. Blair's preseasons, I feel like, were a bit notoriously intimidating and challenging, so I just did as much as I could. That summer to prep and day one of preseason, I just wanted to contribute as much as I could.
How so? You said it intimidating and notoriously intimidating. How so?
Tough. We have a community park that we run. There's always whispers, we're running the park today, and brutal. There's a big hill at the end. That's not fun. He loves his 120s. So lots of, from a fitness standpoint, quite intimidating going in as a freshman.
So when boys or girls arrive in a sport like soccer, they're kind of introduced to us as freshmen. But what kind of experience did you get in soccer before your freshman year, and did that help you? Did you feel overwhelmed at all when you were as a freshman competing against girls bigger and stronger than you, or did that prior experience really prepare you for that type of competition?
Good question. I'd say probably both. I was on a really fun club team, bunch of talented Western PA kids. That really helped me prep. Like, the level of club going into high school was fantastic. I really enjoyed that, and it certainly prepared me. But kind of like you touched on, I mean, we've got 14-year-old. I was a 14-year-old as a freshman, and then you've got 18-year-olds, people turning 18, and that is a big gap, especially when you're in peak development and you're entering into high school. So that was for sure an adjustment. I remember freshman year we played Upper St. Clair in like a non-conference, might have even been a scrimmage. We played in a non-conference game, and I remember going home that night and just being like, Mom, Dad, like, these girls are big, like, they're strong. I was tiny. I still had to put on some weight, hopefully, and I shot up a few inches after freshman year, and I was like, man, I felt like a mouse out there. How am I going to adjust? But ultimately, just adapting that way also helped me advancing from high school to the college game, because those girls in the ACC are also athletic beasts. So that was for sure an adjustment, but I do credit a lot of my my club teammates and the level that I played at helping me contribute in high school.
So entering your junior year of soccer, which I believe would have been 2019.
Yep.
At that point, Mars had won one state championship. You mentioned the 2011 team. Looking back now, and if you had a number of years to digest this, what did it mean for you to bring two more back-to-back state championships to help, in that effort with you and your teammates?
Yeah, a whole lot. All 4 years, and especially heading into junior year, Blair would always be like, can we repeat the 2011 season? Can we repeat that? Can we, get a Whitfield title, a state title? That's every high school player's dream. But after junior season and we accomplished what we did, we had a fantastic squad, fantastic seniors, excellent upperclassmen, and then we had many returning. The question kind of switched from can we repeat the 2011 season to can we top it? That was definitely something we wanted to accomplish, and very, very cool opportunity. And the crew that we had was excellent. Blair, of course, kept the level very, very high, but I think it was very neat too, just to bring the titles back to back to Butler County, bring them back to Mars. There's always talk of, the Eastern PA versus Western PA, and also lots of whispers of, oh, darn, Eastern PA is so darn good because they've got those private schools. After junior year, I was like, I'm done using this as an excuse of these private schools. Like, as a public school, it should just give us that much more motivation to take them down. And to win it not once but twice was really, really special. And then credit to the underclassmen when we won to do it a third time. Like, unbelievable. So very, very special.
Your younger
Yes,
sister was
yes.
part of all three of those teams.
She sure was. Pretty cool.
What's the bragging rights on that one?
It's tough. See, it's technically even because I have a basketball state title my freshman year. So we're 3-3, but she has the soccer one and more whip eels, I think. Yeah.
I want to circle back to something you said a little bit ago. You said going into freshman year, you didn't just want to have playing time. You wanted to start.
Yeah.
That takes a level of confidence in yourself going in of like, no, I'm good enough to do this. So at what point in your life, whether it was high school or sometime when you were younger, maybe even in college, did you realize, oh, I'm good at this sport. This is my thing?
I honestly, because I mentioned basketball, I played basketball through sophomore year of high school, and I wasn't necessarily sure which sport I wanted to pursue. I think after middle school, I knew that I had talents to contribute to getting an excellent academic degree at a college and using my talents to do so with athletics. I just really, any sport that I played, I wanted to lay it all out there, give 110%. And I think that my parents, they knew what it took. And they were extremely helpful on the side. Once again, not too much pressure, but just enough to encourage me to do what it took to excel and take it to the next level.
If you're going to do this, you got to go all in.
Absolutely. Yes.
What was it like being part of, you mentioned the basketball side of this, and it slipped my mind too when we were starting this interview. What was it like being part of multiple competitive teams throughout, high school and I'm sure club too? How did that prepare you?
Oh, it was super, super special. Basketball is very different than soccer. I think I contribute I'm a huge advocate for playing multiple sports because I think that a lot of my skills that I have on the soccer field, I definitely credit them to playing different sports, hockey, volleyball, basketball. Just the hand-eye coordination, I think that's contributed alone to, being able to head the ball, bring it out of the air in soccer. So I loved being on competitive teams, and it ultimately contributed to being able to be successful in all of them. If I saw what it took to be successful in one, then I was like, okay, let's translate this to the field if it were the court prior.
And we've kind of run through a little bit of your soccer history here. So as we mentioned, you are our female athlete of the year, athlete of the quarter century, basically. Your sister's on that list as well. So what does it mean for you to hear, hey, like of all the athletes that have come through Butler County, I was picked the best one?
Oh, pretty cool. Really, I mean, I could say incredible over and over again, but I think really it's just a win. It's a win for Mars. It's a win for the community. We're a small community, but we're a very tight-knit one, and I'm just so thankful for everything. We talk about getting the opportunity to play with my sister. Honestly, just that, being successful or not with the team, like that was one of the moments I cherished the absolute most. But every single young girl that gets the opportunity to go through Mars, but also playing through the women's soccer program is incredibly special. And just to get to take this back home to the Mars community is one that I'm so happy to do.
I wanted to get your thoughts on Blair Gerlach, because between his time with the boys, which was only about, I think, 5 seasons, but his time with the girls as well, 399 career wins now. What was it like playing for Blair, and what in your mind makes him such a good quality coach?
Every single day we have this constant competitive environment, and the one thing I really valued and respected about Blair is that he managed every single day to find a fantastic balance between keeping that competitive edge for everyone to contribute, but also having a fantastic time while we did it. Regardless of the circumstances, whether it was preseason and, I hear we're going to run the park today, whatever the situation was, I looked forward so much to going to training. He knew exactly what strings to pull, what things to say to really get us going, but it takes a special kind of coach to be able to show up day in and day out and keep the level high while also continuing to add to everyone's love of the game.
I want to see if you remember this story. We brought this up during the interview with Blair. I think this is during your career there. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he's done this multiple times. But I went down to a practice one year to get headshots of the girls' players for Athlete of the Week. And it was like right before the start of a practice. And he gets about, I think it was about 15 yards away from the goal, lays down on his side. And he says, I'm gonna take the shot, and it's gonna hit off the crossbar. And he
Probably
did that.
did.
I don't know how many times he did that, but that day he smacked it up. First try, smacked it off the crossbar. And the girls just went nuts. I mean, they just, and I thought to myself, I always had this vision of Mars girls soccer is so good. It's like, it's regimented. Everything's so, organized, and, the players really have fun. But that showed me that day that as good as you guys were, as good as the program was, there were still lighthearted moments when the kids could actually have laugh. They could laugh, have fun, and kind of, take the tension off just a bit.
Right. And at the same time, he kind of used reverse psychology on us because he knew what it took to get us going. And he always would say, you won't. And I would be like, why are you saying that? Because like now I will, like, watch this, I will. And he pulled that early, just you won't individually, you won't like to the team, like Whitfield title, you won't. And then we do. And then, it's just, he was excellent at what he did and still is. Yeah. Very cool.
So you went to Pitt, as we mentioned earlier. I have just a few details here on that career, collegiate career. 3-year captain with the Panthers, 4-year starter, winner of the Spirit of Pitt Award. You were nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year Award, and Pitt Blue and Gold Senior of the Year, and you actually have your name etched in varsity walking between the Cathedral of Learning and Hines Chapel. I don't know if I'm ever going to have my name etched in anything.
Not a Clarion, sorry.
Come on.
So, and both of your parents played at Pitt. So, did you seriously consider any other college? And looking back, what are your thoughts on your time playing for Pitt?
It's funny actually, because heading into the recruitment process, I tell a lot of people this: when you have an incredible school like Pitt in your backyard, it almost like lessens the significance of it, if that makes sense. So growing up, yes, my parents did that, but I was like, do I want to make a path of my own? Do I want to switch it up? Do I want to go away from home? And yes, there were actually other schools that I was considering, absolutely. But I think really, aside from even my parents going there, being a legacy kid, I think it's the family that won me over. When I remember when I committed to Pitt, I was just, my youngest brother was in the room. He was 2 at the time, Hank. And that really solidified my decision, because being the oldest of 4, having 3 siblings that are still, in grade school at the time, like, to be able to check off all the boxes at an incredible university, academically, athletically, I know that they would help me excel, reach the next level, all while being in my backyard and being able to, continue to be an influence in my family's life. Like, that's what it was about. And so, sure, I mean, my parents set a fantastic foundation, but it wasn't always Pitt. But boy, am I glad that I chose that route.
Now, your sister Piper ended up going to Indiana and Bloomington.
Yes.
Was it like, hey, Piper, what are you doing? Where's the family tradition here? I mean, I say that lightheartedly, but was there? Do you know how tough was it to pull her away from that family tradition at Pitt and send her a couple of states west?
Oh yeah, very tough. I say, I said before, do I want to make my own path? Do I want to do this type of thing? I realized at the end of the day that I could make my path at Pitt. She, though, is someone who I give her so much credit, because being 2 years younger than me, continuing to not just follow in my footsteps, but even build on them, like I mentioned, after I graduated. And she has paved her own path, and she's excelling at it. Like, she is someone that I respect a whole lot. I said before that I cherish our moments more than all of my high school memories combined, but she is someone that I'm not necessarily surprised by her decision, but I am just so proud of her for doing it, because you're right. Like, it would have been a tough one. Mom, dad, sister going, but she's making an excellent example for our younger brothers as well. Do what you want to do, and then whatever you do, like, go at it with everything you've got. And I'm beyond proud of her.
It's okay. The brothers can make up for her poor decisions.
No. She had a great decision.
What was the relationship like for you two growing up? Like you're playing the same sports together. You're not too different in age. I have a brother who's 19 months younger than me. Like we butted heads a ton.
Yes.
It got easier as we got older. So what was it like for you? Were you guys super competitive, or were you best friends, or somewhere in the middle?
Somewhere in the middle. When you first asked the first question, I was like, yes, ultra competitive. You asked on our team talk if there was crap talking. Piper and I would probably contributed to the most of the teams just because it's all out of love. We expected the absolute most of each other. If there was anything less, of course I would give her a hard time and her the same. Probably have been too hard on her one too many times, but yes, I would not have been nearly as successful. She pushed me, whether we're in a private session, just us training, in a team environment. She not only like matched my level, but she would raise it even being 2 years younger. And I think that's it translated for me at Pitt and her certainly at Indiana. So it was really, really cool to get to play with her.
We went through your history here. What was your favorite moment or favorite game in soccer? Club, youth, high school, college, whatever moment it was, what stands out the most to you?
Oh, man. I can give you a high school one and I can give you a college one. Okay. College, absolutely. My junior season, we made a very historic run. We made it to the Elite Eight. In the Sweet 16, actually, we had a very tough road. NCAA bracket was tough. And we played away. We played Arkansas. And I talk about like Upper St. Clair. This was the equivalent, but on steroids. I mean, these girls are athletic. And it was a back and forth game. We ended up winning 3-2. I scored a free kick to tie the game 2-2. And then in the last few minutes, a header goal in the final. And that was just so special. It was our second year making it in the NCAA tournament, but never had the entire program advanced that far. So that was certainly an excellent college memory. High school, I think my favorite moment, there are so many small moments that were really, really special, but I think, and this is an easy one to answer just because the last game of my entire high school career, playing the game, we had so many sisters on our squad. Gracie Dunaway, who played at Purdue, her younger sister's at St. John's. She's in the same grade as Piper, who was also in the same grade as Gwen Howell, who was sisters with Ellie Howell, who was in my grade. An incredible crew, but to wrap up my high school career alongside the sisters, and then also doing the same right after our boys team won the state title. They also had an undefeated season. So for Mars, yes, we were out in Hershey, but I mean, unforgettable. So many tears were shed, and that was an unforgettable one.
We were talking off mic when you got in here. What's the future for you in soccer?
So like I said, I'm recovering from the hip surgery. I absolutely have aspirations to play professionally. In the meantime, I am just training a bunch of kiddos. I'm doing privates, group sessions. Piper and I had some Coffield clinics this summer. I'm still very passionate about it. I think soccer will be in my future for all the days that I'm here in some capacity, but just spending some quality moments at home with my family. I'm actually working on my private pilot's license.
Really?
Yes. So that's a fun hobby right now.
So you'll fly yourself to wherever you go to play.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yes.
Transatlantic flight.
Yes. But we're working on that, and of course, working on my recovery.
Maybe that's how you can sell yourself to whatever team you try to join. It's like, hey, I can fly us there. We'll save some money.
No problem.
Just get me the plane. I'll get us there.
I'll get the commercial one next.
Ellie, you mentioned you played for the varsity basketball team through your sophomore year?
Yes. Yes.
And you were part of the state championship team in 2018 as a freshman.
Right.
So you were part of that team's success, and you're also a very big proponent of playing multiple sports. How tough was it for you to step away from basketball and say, I want to focus on soccer?
So challenging. I committed very early to Pitt. After going into my freshman high school soccer season is when I committed, and knowing that, of course, there's word, could you get hurt? Is it smart to continue playing a different sport? Should we just fully pursue soccer? I wanted to see it through. I really, really did. It got to a point where I knew that then to perform at the highest level that I wanted to at Pitt with soccer, it would just take all of my time and focus on that sport. Ultimately, that's what made me decide to hang it up with basketball, but I would have loved to see it through. Absolutely.
Laura pointed this out off mic before we got started, but your nails, you also have two hobbies since you've been you've been playing. Doing your own nails and getting some art. It's like their artwork on there.
Thank you.
That and the
Yeah,
plane
you
ride.
could probably make money doing that. Like I would
yeah.
pay you to do my nails.
I'm definitely still learning for sure.
Which
But, hey,
do you enjoy more, the flying or the artistry?
tough comparison, but flying, I definitely have to say that for my dad's sake. But yeah, just a fun little thing. I love to grow as a person, and constantly I'm trying to add different things to my plate always.
So when we talk to you in 5 years, there's going to be some other hobby that you started.
Guaranteed.
All right, got it.
I did a story on you. I think it was when you won our Player of the Year one time. You're a very big fan of animals. Is that right?
Oh, I sure am. Yeah.
I mean, you had like a
What
pet
a memory.
turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the Coffield house look like? I mean, they're like,
Guys.
literally
Farm.
animals running around the house.
Oh yeah.
For
Let
kids.
me just say, yes, it is a literal zoo. We joke like we don't need to go to the Butler Farm show because we have it at home. I do still have my pet tortoise, Carl. He is 15 years strong. Yes, got him in second grade.
His name is Carl.
Carl.
Animals with human
That's
names.
awesome.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll be honest with you, I completely forgot about that until
What a
the last
memory.
couple
Yes,
of
I
minutes.
remember
was like,
that
wait a minute,
conversation.
this is the girl that had like literally like a turtle and I mean, how many
Yeah,
animals did
cats,
you have?
dogs.
Cats, dogs,
Yes.
any snakes?
Fish. No, see, my dad's scared of snakes, but I would have absolutely. I want to try it all. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Well, you might have trouble taking a lot of those to Europe with you, so
I know. I just got.
She'll just buy more.
just get over there and
microchip my tortoise.
stock up on
send
the
him over.
animals in Europe. Ellie, we appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on every honor and good luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you guys. Seriously, this means
Thanks,
so
Ella.
much to me.
Absolutely. And that will do it for today's special 25 and 2025 episode. We'll be back Thursday with our top 25 coaches and teams of the last 25 years with more interviews from them as well. If you want to have a say, one thing that we didn't mention in the intro, go to butlereagle.com/section/sports to find a link to vote on your top 20s. It's top 20 in this case because of the size of the poll, and we'll publish the fan vote later this week. See you later.
We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.